Hey, many people prayed and asking about the leadership, the evil leadership, and they're wondering, which we addressed before, but so we'll readdress that because of a lot of prayers going up. So, and like I say, the prayers are stored up in bowls. They're not stored up, shouldn't be stored up anymore. And they're stored up in the people, in the bowls. I read about that. So, asking about leadership. So, what you sow, so shall you reap. So, in this time that people have been fair, no matter what in business and in everything, their dealings with everybody in the world, and the ones that are of God that will prosper much. Much has been, little been given. You've been faithful in little. Now you can be faithful in a lot. Now you have the now you have the leadership, the bad, evil leadership. You know, the shifty eyes, the dark-eyed people. So what they sow, and so shall they reap. They reaped murder, rape, um, selling body parts, destroying God's children. So now they're not going to sleep anymore. So for years, they prayed that the blood would not cry up from the ground, just as they go back in Genesis, where the father says, I can hear the blood cry up from the ground to Cain. Where's your brother? And they prayed that the people stay asleep and cannot hear the blood cry up from the ground. I asked the Lord about it years ago, and he allowed me to hear just a little bit of it, and it was blood curdling to hear so much death dying needlessly. Blood curdling screams and cries, and when, how long, type in that, how long till we be avenged, how long, many are buried underneath the altar of religion. Many are buried underneath the altars of life. And they prayed that nobody could hear it. So, first and foremost, the Lord's going to allow them who prayed to silence people. So if you're going to snitch somebody out who was a murderer, who's a hitman, they'll silence you by killing you, okay? So now it's going to come back to haunt them. They will not be able to sleep. They won't be able to eat. You know, it'd be worse than King Saul when he couldn't get a word from God anymore because of his disobedience. Went to the witch to conjure up a word, conjure up Samuel for a word. Yeah, you're going to die down there. Says he took a stray bullet. There's no such thing as a stray bullet, stray arrow. He took a stray arrow. In that time, no weapon form can be against us. But the enemies are going to reap what they've sown. They won't be able to sleep, eat, or anything else because they'll be haunted by the ones that they murdered, by the men, women, and children that they murdered. Forgive me for the shaking, but it's like, oh my God. They'll be haunted like the worst haunted horror movie you ever saw. They'll be haunted and be terrorized because that's what they reaped. Because that's what they've sown. They sown, so shall you reap. So what are you sowing in this time? Hopefully you're sowing love and good works. Hopefully you're sowing the righteous, to provoke them to love and good works. And, you know, it's judgment time, which is justice. The prayer bowls being emptied, the vials being poured out, or our prayers poured out of our vials, which is us. That God hears the incense of the saints. The James 4, the true prayers, the Jabez prayer, the true prayers. God honors them. So for starters, they will be terrorized. Don't ask what I have asked. I asked if I could hear. And Lord only turned up the volume very little, just freaked me out. So they pray all over the place. The witches and warlocks pray all over the places 24/7 so that we will not hear the cries. Now, the cries are their prayers. Now, a lot of people are dead and murdered that haven't been avenged, that haven't had justice. They're not in hell, but that's a long story. But they exist, but they're like stuck. Don't know how to explain that, okay? Because it ruins a lot of people's religion. Need to ruin your religion anyways, because you're relying on the legion, not on God. So they reap what they're sowed. Terror. Terror in their house, in their vessel, in their souls. And you'll see them deteriorate faster and faster and faster. They'll be shriveling up and wrinkling up like a bad horror movie. Because it ages them really quickly. So I've seen people age in just 2 or 3 years and age like 10, 15 years in 2 or 3 years. Now this is accelerated aging because their souls are dissipating. It's like the cells. Like if you get really mad, angry, you burns your brain cells out. They commit suicide. Your brain cells will commit suicide because your anger and hatred. Anger plus hatred equals murder. Anger, be angry and sin not. Be angry and do not have hatred, which commits murder, which causes murder. So the cells being burned out. So the cells being burned out in their brains and in their vessel, that causes dementia and causes, which is all unresolved conflict, because Jesus brought the forgiveness, which is the restoration. So we go beyond forgiveness, go into restoration. Another story, long story. So they're going to be deteriorated, they're going to shrivel up, they're going to die, they're going to faint, they're going to fall over and have heart attacks, they're going to die every which way that they sown, so shall they reap. So if you sown love and good works and been fair in all your dealings, it's time for a restoration. You claim it now, for it's you soon to be restored, just as Job, his whole family was restored. God can call back the dust from the ends of the earth. He can call back and he can iron all your wrinkles out. Iron all the wrinkles out of you. So be encouraged today. Leave vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, which is not mine but his. And just know, if you're his child, that he loves you very much. And people have to go through major tribulation because of lies and liars. And like I asked about the weeding of the garden, just like these trees. And he told me a good version, because it freaked me out about all the evil, wickedness, screaming, crying, unresolved conflict, murder. He said, well, some people he's taken out and bringing them to him, just like they talk about Abraham's bosom, Abraham's family. He's taken them out and comforting them, because they can't handle the great tribulations that are on the earth and in the earth right now. And now, like I said, to get away from the tribulations, the great tribulations, is to keep a needle for an ear in heaven, 2 Chronicles 7:14. And hopefully you will understand and grasp it in your heart to where you will not have to be tried with great tribulations, great disciplines, which is the word disciples. You will not have to have great disciplines, because you are his disciple, and that you can help many people alive. Faith without works is dead, and works without faith is dead. God's bringing everything into fruition, bringing the witnesses out front to prophesy, to tell you what's happening, to help you enter into this time without stones of stumbling, stubbing your toe on these stupid, lying, cheating, bastard people. You think of it as a really bad word, but bastard means they do not know the Father. There's so many people that hijacked the church, and they were allowed. And then there's no chief cornerstone, because it says the head and the cornerstone was rejected by the builders, which is Jesus. Oh my God. Think about that. And then the church is established on the prophets and apostles and prophets. The witnesses. One will be very apostolic and one will be very prophetic, whoever they may be. The establishment of his church, established on him, the chief cornerstone, Jesus. If you stood Jesus up in a corner, it would look like a hug. It would look like a hug, because he loves you. And then there's apostles and prophets established a church. Now, go knock on door of church, says, I need to talk to your apostle. Maybe you don't. Maybe I need to talk to your prophet. They'll look at you like they have no idea. Okay, because they're not of Jesus, the Christ. They're not been christened. They're not been Christed. No Christ within them. Grave danger. Get the word out. Like and subscribe. Fred Delaney here. Prophet Frederick here. Helping get you a word. You know, Fred means peace. Some languages, Frederick means peaceful rulership. To help give you peace in the times of trials and tribulations. So you can be his warrior. And you war in the spirit. Satan hates love. You war with love because that's God's power. It'll consume you and consume your whole family. Best thing ever. Him in you. God bless you.